Welcome, welcome. I am so excited to be with you guys for day one of the alignment challenge. This is the Blueprint Alignment Challenge. It is based off of my signature course, the Bold Empowerment Blueprint. This is a course that I created almost 4 years ago. And I would love to share the story about how the Bold Empowerment Blueprint came about. So, many years ago, I've always been an ambitious high achiever. Raise your hand if you relate to that. Anybody else? And so I had a huge, massive goal that I was going after, and it took me 2 years to achieve this huge goal. And I did achieve it, and it felt so good and so exciting and so fulfilling. Shortly after I achieved the goal, what happened was there were circumstances beyond my control that made it so the goal could not hold. So I could not hold the level of achievement that I had aspired to and finally arrived at. And the next thing you know, it felt like the rug was pulled out from under me and that achievement was gone. And it left me in an identity crisis because I felt so empty and so unfulfilled, not being able to maintain the achievement that I had, the goal that I had achieved. So I was having all of this negative self talk, all of this internal shame and disappointment that was happening. But the reason why it led to an identity crisis is because I had learned from society that our worth is tied to our titles, accolades, and achievements. My whole life, and I'm sure your life too, it's all about what grades you get and your what school you get into, what job you get, what promotion you get. It's all about the titles, accolades, and achievements. And what was so difficult about that is I had aspired to achieve this huge goal, which gave me a title and achievement. And then when I couldn't hold it anymore, there was a disconnect between what I was identifying as my worth and what I could share as my title. So when I walked in a room, I didn't even know how to introduce myself anymore. If I could not be like, I'm Annalie Yelm, this title and achievement. And I felt lost. Who am I without this achievement? Who am I without this title? And that led me on the pendulum swung from being a high achiever, highly motivated, very driven, very successful to the whole other side. And I became allergic to goals. And I was like, this is too painful to have a goal that you achieve and then it goes away. Like I went on this identity crisis of like, who am I without my ambition? Who am I without being a high performer, without my achievements? And it took me on this beautiful internal soulful journey where I really came to understand my worth independent from my doing. I began to really understand my self worth in alignment with my being, just and who I am at my core. And I came to know more about my core values and the things that were really important to me outside of achievement. And I came to know some of the qualities and characteristics that I loved and adored about myself. And one of the things that really helped me on this beautiful journey of healing some identity crisis and healing some unrealistic expectations and healing some conditioning that society and well-meaning mentors had trained me to be conditioned to operate like. That process, that unraveling process of unbecoming, we'll talk more about this, was about a 3-year journey. And within that time frame, I was introduced to a tool called Human Design. And I fell in love with this tool. I've always enjoyed profiling systems. Do you guys relate to that? Do you like StrengthsFinder, Enneagram, like color code, all that stuff? So I've always loved those systems too. And one of the things that happened is when I found Human Design, I was like, I had a friend who had been working with Human Design, and she's like, send me your birthday, send me your information, and I'll let you know about yourself. I'm like, okay, awesome. And then she sent me some voice notes telling me about myself according to my Human Design. I was like, oh my gosh, I have never felt so validated and seen and pegged in such a profound way. And that's when I was like, I have to know all about this. I am definitely one of those people when I have something that like sparks interest and joy and passion in me. I'm like, let's go. I want to learn more about this. So I dove in head first and began learning about human design as a powerful tool for recognizing identity. And as I fell in love with this tool, I had some really powerful experiences in my life. And one of which was I had taken a break from business and entrepreneurship during that season of growth and internal healing and everything. And what happened was, after I learned about human design, I started getting these impressions placed upon my heart, these little nudges. I'll call them like sacral gut hits, is what the human design lingo is for that. We'll learn more about that this week. But I kept getting these impressions placed upon my heart, these little intuitive nudges. And the message that I was getting, or the hits that I were getting was, hey, you've gone through this really difficult journey and you've learned how to navigate this awful situation with grace and joy and inner peace and feeling fulfillment, even when life isn't going as planned, even when your circumstances are stressful. Mind you, the pandemic also happened during all of this. And so next thing you know, it was like I got this feeling from, for me it's God, but for you it might be universe or source, from this inspiration outside of myself. And what landed on my heart was I helped you learn how to navigate this journey so that you could turn around and teach what you learned and role model for others how they can experience more joy, inner peace, and fulfillment, even when, insert the blank, whatever that looks like for you. I was like, at the time, I had a new baby and we had just moved from Texas to Idaho, like cross country move in the middle of the pandemic, like thieves in the night. Didn't get to say goodbye to anybody because everybody was hunkered down in their homes and nobody was seeing each other. And I had a nursing baby that didn't sleep through the night. And it just felt like life was really piled on these difficult circumstances. But I had this impression upon my heart. And one of the things that I had been learning about human design was following my authority. We're going to learn about that during this challenge. Following those internal, like inner knowing nudges and taking swift action, swift aligned action based on those promptings. So I did. I suddenly was like, okay, I'm going to teach people what I learned. I'm going to teach them about human design and how to actually integrate it and use it in their lives. I'm going to teach them about the tools that I'm using to manage emotions, to navigate the mindset and the emotional and energetic side of these triggers of being out of alignment. And I'm going to teach them how to apply this to life and business to create more of that joy, inner peace, and fulfillment, even when. So I put it out in the world and I announced, I'm doing this. If you want to learn from me, come learn from me. And I sold out my very first offer. It was called the Bold Empowerment Blueprint, and it was a live group coaching program. That's how my coaching side of my business launched. And from there, I received testimonials and feedback from my clients that it was truly life-changing. So eventually I turned that live program into a course. And so that is my signature course that is available, the Bold Empowerment Blueprint. But just recently, I felt really inspired to share some of the modules from my course live, available for free. The thing that I have discovered is that a lot of people are intrigued, they're interested in alignment, they're interested in human design. And so then they go and they start listening to podcasts or watching Instagram reels or posts, and they get little snippets of what their human design is. But the piece that's missing is the integration, actually applying it, actually living according to your human design. There's a difference between learning about it and beginning to implement it. And I've never seen anybody implement it well in like 2 seconds flat. You can implement something and see some positive shifts pretty quickly, but I want you to be patient with yourself, to implement it over time and recognize that the further you are in your journey, the more and more refined and clear and aligned you're going to get. But the things that I'm going to be teaching you within this 4 days, they can be life-changing. They can create clarity for you and give you a sense of, your circumstances becoming better because you're better, because you know how to honor yourself and your design. All right, so that's an introduction to this 4 days. The way that this is going to work is I will be live here on Zoom with you guys. The first part is going to be a teaching portion where I will be teaching the module. And then the second part will open it up for live Q&A so you can ask any questions you have. And then at the very end, I'm going to be giving you a daily integration assignment. I don't want you to have like, oh, there's homework. That's not what this is about. This is about like, hey, this is how I want you to implement and take action so that you can get something from this. Not just learn a lot and be like, that was fun to learn. Like, no, I want to teach you how to actually apply it and take action on it so that you can see positive alignment shifts. So that's how this is going to work. Let's go ahead and dive right into, the other caveat that I want to just inform you about is some of you have had the opportunity to be with me live or be with me virtually when I've been able to speak at different events. And I've spoken on this topic, on the topic of alignment and introduction to human design. So day one may feel a little bit like an overlap of what you have seen me do live at other events for other organizations. But we're going to go into a lot more depth here on day one because we don't have 20 minutes. We have 45 minutes together. And actually, I'll be here till the end of the hour to give time for Q&A. So we're going to have a little bit more depth here today. So if you're like, I've seen this before, hang with me. We're going to go deeper, okay? While I'm getting the slides pulled up, I would love for you guys to go ahead and jump in the chat, say hello to each other. Let us know, where are you tuning in from? Where are you located? And tell us a little bit about you, your family, and what you do professionally. I'd love for you guys to connect a little bit in the chat, see who's here with us. Hey, give me a thumbs up if you can see my slides okay. Perfect. So this challenge is just like I introduced to you. It's really all about, I want to give you some tools to learn how to experience more joy, fulfillment, and success by aligning with your human design, by moving through life according to your true nature. One of the things that would be, I'm excited to do this for free because one of my top core values is contribution. I love sharing and contributing my strengths and my gifts and my knowledge to a rising tide raises all ships. That's something that I am so passionate about. But something that would mean a lot to me if it feels aligned for you is tag me on Instagram. I'm Bold Empowerment on Instagram, and your tags mean so much to me. It's just a great way for other people to find me and for me to feel loved and supported by you. So if that feels aligned, I would love it if you tag me as you're doing your integration assignments or as you're joining us live or watching the replays. Share a tag on your stories, and that would be so fun. I'm going to actually do a fun prize giveaway at the end of the week for everybody who tagged me on Instagram this week, and you'll be entered into a drawing to win some fun prizes. Okay, so let me introduce myself a little bit. Many of you know me. I'm so grateful to have so many friends here who I actually am connected with in real life and have great relationships with. But for those of you who may be new to my world or to me, I'm Annalie Yelm, and I am in human design. I'm called a 6-2 sacral manifesting generator. So that is a little bit more about me. If you know your human design type, go ahead and share that in the chat. Let me know your human design type, authority, and profile if you know those three things. If you don't know your human design yet, I'll share the website in a couple of slides, but I'll leave it in the chat too. It's called jovianarchive.com, and you can go pull up your human design chart that way. So I am a mom of 4 kids, and I'm still like in the motherhood phase. My oldest is about to turn 13 and my youngest is 4. So there's a picture of my little family. I do alignment business coaching. So I host business masterminds is kind of my jam, and my zone of expertise is blending that business marketing, sales, strategy execution with the alignment, energetics, and according to your human design. So that's what I do professionally. But I also am known for being like your positivity cheerleader. I am known for cheering you on and being so supportive and helping to always see the good in every circumstance. And so that's a lot of my natural strengths that I've been able to bring into helping to mentor and teach in alignment. I'm also an activator. I'm really great at taking you from spinning in your head to let's pull out the ideas and get into action. If you're feeling in a slump, like I'm really great at being in conversation with you and helping you feel uplifted and activated. So these are some of my natural superpowers that are a part of my human design, but just also skills that I have developed personally and professionally over my lifetime. One of my favorite things to do is to host retreats. So this is a picture of me at my most recent retreat, and I do an annual retreat called the Be Retreat. And it's really all about being you so that you can be aligned and have your magic come out. Then I created a method. So I have a signature method that I use in all of my coaching, all of my retreats, everything that I do in Bold Empowerment uses what I call the core connection method. The idea behind this method is the idea that you first need to connect inward. And as you align and connect inward and change the landscape inward, it will automatically change how you experience everything outward. So the core connection method is about connecting inward first to change your experience outward. Step one of this method is really discovering your personal unique identity. This is where we use human design as a tool. The more that you learn your human design and how you're designed to move through your life true to your nature, the more that you can be, which is the embodiment of bold empowerment. Step two is that energetic and emotional blueprint. So it's uncovering the layers of trauma, conditioning, inherited patterns, all of that stuff that maybe has made you who you are today, but is not the true aligned you. We peel back those layers little by little to get to the root of who you are. And then step three is really unlocking your soul power. Now that you've learned how you're designed to move through life true to your nature and you have powerful skills to be in alignment 80% of the time or more, you really get to be the most powerful person that you are designed to be to live your purpose. So I want to talk about be, which is be yourself. You guys have, some of you have seen me share this before, but so many times we hear people say, just be yourself. But what does that actually mean? Who is this true self? The private inner being that hides behind the mask it wears for most public interactions. That real person when we're stripped of our ego and acts of social graces aimed at winning respect, approval, or popularity. So many times it's difficult for us to even know what be yourself actually means, like who we are, because of all of our life experiences that have trained us and conditioned us to show up a certain way to get results. Sometimes it wasn't safe for us to be us. We weren't accepted. We weren't valued. We weren't seen. And so we learned how to seek approval and popularity and to adapt into who we needed to be able to get the results that we aspired to. Today is really all about peeling back those layers to be able to uncover, and it's about unbecoming. That's what human design is really all about. It's this belief that you're not trying to aspiring to become the best version of yourself. It's like you've already been the best version of yourself when you came to this earth. So a lot of it is unbecoming and unlearning patterns so that you can peel back the layers to find your true self. This is really all about main character energy. I saw a reel recently that was like, how boring would a story be? Can you imagine watching a movie where the main character sits in their bed and scrolls on their phone all day? Like, that would be so boring. And I'm all about some self-care and rest and indulgence for the sake of joy. But that hit me because so many times we are playing a supporting role character in our own lives. We're not allowing ourselves to be the main character. Sometimes we get in this bad habit of making it all about our spouse and their work and their profession and their successes, or all about our kids and what they're learning and growing and doing, or all about our friends and our communities. We're giving, 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 giving. And this is all so wonderful. It's great to contribute and to use our gifts for those reasons, as long as it's not at the cost of making sure that some of what we're doing is really for us, like the way that we're designed to show up best in the world, to be lit up and to feel joy. So I want you to, human design is a powerful tool that is going to help you to show up as the best main character. But it's not selfish. It's not only about you. As you are more aligned in your design, it's going to make a huge shift for you, where the way that you show up for others and the ripple effect it's going to have on all of your relationships will be felt. The more you are aligned with you, the more you'll stop expecting others to show up the way you want them to. And you're going to begin to honor them for how they're designed to show up. It's going to help cut the comparison trap that we get stuck in within our communities and our friend groups or professional groups. We're going to stop comparing, because we're going to stop trying to be the way that they're supposed to be or wish we were more like them. And we're going to love and honor who we are and who we're designed to be, and know that our main character is significant, important, and we have an amazing life and story to live out. Your alignment is magnetic. So that's also what this is about. One of the biggest things that you're going to get from this is, next thing you know, people, opportunities, experiences, they just start flowing your way because your energy is on point. So we'll be talking about that. It's something that can be felt when you walk into the room. And that's what today is all about. We're going to be diving into the human design type, which is your aura. So before we get into the type, let me just do a high level overview of what is human design. It's a profiling system that blends ancient wisdom with modern sciences. It's really designed to things like the chakra system and the I Ching and Kabbalah, but it also is modern genetics and quantum physics. It's really like what was going on when you came into this world. It also blends some astrology. I'm not like an expert in all the different little aspects of it. Here's what I will say. This is the most accurate system I've ever personally experimented with. And I invite you to just have an open mind. Try it on like a costume, like put this coat on, see what it feels like, move through life this week, trying to implement these things that you're learning and see how it feels. Get curious about it. What shifts can you make to have a different experience? The thing about human design is that it teaches you, it can change your perspective over time to learn what brings fulfillment and success. When you're living in alignment, it helps with lessening your experience with resistance. And that's why it's a powerful tool for helping you to experience that joy and fulfillment, even when life is lifing. So that's why I love this system so much. Here are some of the terms that we're going to be covering today. The first one is your type. This is your energetic aura. This is how you are designed to move through life. This is the, like, your personal bubble, what it feels like. Then this is your strategy. Every type has a strategy. The strategy is how you're designed to interact with others and how they're designed to interact with you. Then your signature. This is an emotional experience that is the sign that you're in alignment. And then your not self theme. This is the emotional trigger that is the sign that you're out of alignment. The telltale sign that you're out of alignment. Okay, and the best way to implement this system is Ra Uru, who created this system. He says it all begins with the type. Your human design type is your aura. If you're trying to jump ahead and skip steps to like, what are your centers and your gates and your channels and your arrows, all these really cool things that do exist in the multi-layers of human design, they are amazing. But if you are not living according to your type, none of it matters because you're not in alignment. So that's why we're focusing on type first. And we'll begin by collecting the data to learn what it feels like to be in alignment and out of alignment. Okay, I'm going to put the website in the comments, jovianarchive.com. If you have not pulled up your human design chart, go check it out there, get your chart for free. But if we have a generator in the room, say in the comment, generator here. If you're a generator, let us know. So generators, you are here to be, you can go longer, stronger, harder than any other type. You have the doer energy, the execution energy, the see things through to the end energy. Your superpower is to amplify energy and win the world. And it's really all about when it lights you up. So just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. When you are lit up, you'll find you can go longer, stronger, harder. Then I call it like the Energizer Bunny. My husband is a generator and he works his full-time career. And then he always has like multiple businesses and side careers that he's doing. He literally works like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, but he's so lit up by his work. And he is also very present with our family. So he has lots of flexibility because he works from home. But that's like a generator to me. It's like they love what they're doing so much. When they're lit up by what they're doing, they can go, 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 go. Now, if you're a generator and you're like, I do not have that kind of energy, I cannot go, go, go. Sometimes it's a mental stamina more than it is like a physical labor stamina. And sometimes if you're feeling that lack of energy, it could partially be because you're doing, but it's not tasks that light you up. So that's something to keep in mind is when you're doing more of what lights you up, it's going to create more of that energy for you. And when you're doing things that don't light you up, it's going to be naturally draining your energy. We're going to talk more about that after we cover all of the types. One thing that I want generators to know is that you are like a train. This is a helpful analogy because trains, when they get going, they are like, all right, we're starting to move. Chugga, 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 chugga. It's like sometimes a slow start. They don't go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds like a sports car. They are just like slowly chugging along. But then once they're going, they are like cruising. Don't get in front of them. You're going to get plowed over, you know? And just like a train, once they're in motion, they remain in motion. So they can't like stop and halt immediately. And that's why transitions are so important for you. You need to give yourself time to get warmed up and get moving into your activity. And you need to give yourself time to get wind down and pause before you shift gears. That's why with my generator clients, I always recommend that you have transition windows between like, this is my work mode. I'm going to work until 3 p.m. and then I'm going to be in mom mode from 3 p.m. on. That's not practical. You maybe work until 3 p.m., give yourself 30 minutes to transition down, and then 3:30 on, you shift into family mode. That's something to be helpful. Also, manage your expectations with yourself. You are not designed to like be chugging along and then hurry and pivot really fast to do something else. Give yourself transition windows with ideas and topics and execution too. If you are trying to pivot over here, you're going to be frustrated all day long. And frustration is your sign that you're out of alignment. We'll be talking about that. Okay, manifesting generators. Where are you? Comment in the comments if you're a manifesting generator. Okay, we got one. Manifesting generators, your superpower is the ability to be multi-passionate and also to amplify energy in the world when you're doing what lights you up. So you have this natural activating energy to you. It is something that can be contagious and amplifying the good stuff, which is when you're doing what lights you up. You also have this special talent of skipping steps. So where a generator may need to do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like executing, chugging along, a manifesting generator can go on this timeline and be like, okay, I'm going to do step 1, 2, 3. That's a little fluff. It's a little bit unnecessary. Skip that one. We're going to 4. Oh, 5. Yeah, I only need part of that. 6. We're done. So skipping and simplifying and peeling back the unnecessary. That's a superpower of manifesting generators. The downside of that, though, manifesting generators, is sometimes you're moving so fast, you're skipping steps, that you may make mistakes and you'll have to go backtrack to correct mistakes you made. So we love our manifesting generators because they are here to get stuff moving, get stuff into action, but also Don't feel so hard on yourself when you do make errors. That doesn't mean anything about your worth and your skills and your success. It just means that maybe you need support systems in place to make sure that key things are not being missed and that you are accountable when you make mistakes and to go back and correct them. I think I'm a manifesting generator. A perfect example of this is I'll get really inspired thoughts and then I go create a post on social media, like stories in particular. I'll write out this long thing that I think is awesome, like inspiration, and then I publish it. And then an hour later, I'll go back and look at it and I have like 10 autocorrect errors. I'm like, oh crap, I should have proofread that. So things like that, like, you're just in a hurry and getting it done because you're so activated. And then little details might get missed. Even though I'm very intelligent and grammar and spelling is something that's a strength of mine, you can't tell with autocorrect sometimes. Okay, the other thing that I want manifesting generators to know is that just because you are here to be multi-passionate and spin lots of plates doesn't mean that you should be spinning lots of plates, especially if they're things that don't light you up. Because the more plates you're spinning that are energy drainers instead of energy givers, the less effective you'll be. And you're not being in service to anybody when you're extremely drained. So be mindful of adding in more of the things that light you up. One of the other things that I think is important for manifesting generators to know is that you need to, your strategy is to respond, just like our generators, the strategy is to respond. What that means is that we have all of these senses that we're bringing in data throughout the day. So what you're seeing, smelling, hearing, having conversations, all of it is external data, your environment. And you are getting a gut response to that. You're getting pulled, drawn towards something, yes, or repelled by something, no. And you need to pay attention, both generators and manifesting generators, this is for you. Pay attention to that gut feeling, tune into your body. And one of the ways that you can support yourself the best as a generator or manifesting generator is bring things down to a this or that, yes or no. It makes it easy for you to respond. Yes, no. So that is something that is very helpful to understand. If you're a generator, then when you get that gut feeling of like, oh, I'm drawn towards this. Ooh, I want to do this. Ooh, that lights me up. Yes, you can go. As a manifesting generator, something that's unique to you is if you get that sacral pull, that's like, yes, I want to do this. You need to dip your toe in and then test it and ask again. And if you get a second sacral response, a second yes, yes, then you go. So that's a little bit of the difference between generators and manifesting generators. There's lots of similarities in their aura being big and magnetic, and it draws people in. Generators and manifesting generators, they both have the strategy of interacting with others and interacting with the world by waiting to respond, by paying attention to that gut feeling, that sacral response. They also have the same signature, which is the feeling that they experience when they're in alignment is the feeling of satisfaction. And they have the same, not self-theme, the feeling when they're out of alignment, the emotional trigger is frustration. So lots of similarities between generators and manifesting generators, but the big differences between those two types are really their execution. So generators are the doers, they're the trains, like plugging along, the Energizer bunnies. Manifesting generators, they are multi-passionate, can be doing lots of things at once, they can pivot quickly, they can skip steps. Generators, they get that sacral gut hit and go time. Manifesting generators, they get the sacral gut hit, dip your toe in, test the waters. If you get a second yes, then you go. Okay, does that clarify generators and manifesting generators? Awesome. Let's move right along to our manifestors. If we got manifestor in the house, comment in the comment section if you're a manifester. Our manifestors, these are our like pioneers. They are the starters, the initiators, the fire starters. Manifestors are the only type that literally creates energy, initiates, creates. Their superpower is the ability to act independently. So they can initiate action to implement or to impact others. So they're here to bring new ideas to the world. They're here to create a new path. They're here to do things differently. They're going against the grain a lot of times, or they're moving and pioneering and paving a path that didn't exist before. This means that they can they can experience a lot of resistance from others, and their energy is a little bit more closed. It's more independent and closed, and it can be repelling. So, our manifestors, what's interesting about a manifester is that people either love them or they hate them. There's not really much of an in between. Of course, there is nuance in all of it, but they're really here to stand in their power and to be an initiator, to be a creator, to be a trailblazer. And some people in that are going to be activated, inspired, and go jump on board to their vision. And some people are going to be like, who does she think she is? So that's our manifestors for you. Now, their strategy for interacting with others as a manifester is to inform. What that looks like is you're not really here to ask permission. It's not, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think if I did this? Would it be okay if? That's not how you're designed to operate. You're designed to be an informer. So you're going to get this like hit, this like surge of energy, this surge of like, I'm ready to do this. And you're ready to move and take action on that initiation energy. And your job is to be a good informer. Hey, just so you know, I got this inspiration to do this. I'm going to execute on this right now. I'll check in with you at this point. Just so you know, I'm going here. I have a son who's a manifester, and I remember when I first learned about his human design, I was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. This is the one kid of mine who just would like randomly walk out the door. I'm like, where are you going? He would just be off. I'm like, there's a thing called like checking in with your parents, asking permission. But the whole asking permission thing was really not for him. So I started, instead of making it all about ask for permission, your mom's in charge, instead I shifted it to being more like, hey, I need you to be a good informer. Like you need to tell me what your thoughts are and tell me what action you're taking. My job will be to make sure that the boundaries are correct so that you're safe. I'm going to teach you good skills, but you need to be a good informer. So I started emphasizing the being an informer more than like, hey, I'm your parent, you have to ask permission, because I wanted to honor his design. Now, obviously we have to play by the rules of society sometimes, and that can be really frustrating. But when a manifester is constantly being forced to get this surge of inspiration and initiation, and then they have to wait around to ask for permission, wait around to get approval, it's going to create more and more like they're butting up against the wall, and it's going to create the feeling of being out of alignment, which is anger. So you'll notice that the anger really, really starts to show up when they're not given permission and autonomy to be able to act independently. That is their superpower and their strength. So if you allow them to like show up in their zone of genius and act independently, that's when you see the magic of a manifester. Something that's very helpful for all human design types, but especially manifestors, is teach other people how to work with you. Teach them what it looks like to get your magic, to get your best work. The more people will understand you, the more they can honor your autonomy, they can honor your initiation, and see that as a blessing for their organization or for your family, rather than being like, what is her deal? So teach them about you, how you operate, and how it is a benefit to them by you being in your power and operating true to your alignment. When you are in alignment, you experience the feeling of peace. And it's just this peace of inner peace, of being with peace with who you are, being with peace with your environment, peace in your relationships. That's really what you're craving. So the sign of success, quote unquote, for a manifester is that they're able to experience peace. So those are our manifestors. We love our manifestors. We love all the types, but it's really fun to see the unique characteristics of each. Then we have our projectors. Comment in the chat if you're a projector. Our projectors have a very powerful penetrating energy. They do absorb from other people, but their energy is very penetrating. They really are able to get to the meat of things. As a projector, their superpower is the ability to understand others deeply. They see the big picture clearly, and they can organize resources into productive action. So one of the ways that I like to describe a projector is most types, they're down in the forest and they're seeing the tree right in front of them. Well, our projector friends, they're a mile high seeing the view of the whole forest. They're looking at the big picture. They have a big perspective that most other types do not have. They have a unique understanding. So they're seeing, maybe 10 steps ahead that somebody else, the rest of us might not be seeing. So they have a way to guide and direct. They're here to be guides and mentors. One of the great things about them is they have the ability to be very potent and efficient in short amount of time. So a projector, an aligned projector, they can be like, instead of needing to do a 10-hour shift to get things done, they can be super potent in a 4-hour shift. So they don't necessarily need to just work to get amazing things done. In fact, they're more potent and more effective and more brilliant when they're given space to be powerful in short windows of time and have lots of rest. They do not have the energy centers defined, specifically the sacral center, which allows them to have that consistent energy. Their energy burns out quickly. When they interact with others, their energy is activated by being around others, but then they need to rest and they need to clear out the energy that they've absorbed from other people. So what that might look like from a schedule standpoint is maybe they wake up and they have a slow morning. This is ideal, right? We can't all have like ideal schedules, but in best case scenario, this is what it could look like. They wake up, have a slow morning with their coffee, they get to read a book, like they're enjoying the view out their window. Then they get to work and they like power down for 4 hours, like a very potent 4-hour window. And then by the late afternoon, they wind down and have evening dinner, and then they are able to relax and go to bed. Like that would be ideal. Ideally, they're not having to work after dinner and stuff. But of course, we don't always get to operate within our ideal. So what that looks like, if you have a career where you don't get to choose your schedule and you do need to work these long days and there's a huge amount of tasks, how can you be more potent and efficient with calling and support? How can you give yourself periods of rest throughout the day rather than grinding? So maybe getting more skilled in meditation or power naps, those kinds of things. Now, as a projector, your strategy, the way that you're designed to interact with others, is what's called waiting for the invitation. Waiting for the invitation is not, let me sit around and twiddle my thumbs and wait. It's about allowing yourself to be seen as the expert, allowing yourself to be seen as an authority. And as people can see you, then they can extend an invitation to you to learn more from you. But if you are trying to share your wisdom without being invited, people will not respect it. People will not value it. If you are not invited to share your wisdom, it may be off-putting to people. And then when people don't respect or see the value in your wisdom, what happens is you're not self-themed, the sign that you're out of alignment is triggered, and that is the feeling of bitterness. So when you're trying to like live in your zone of genius and share your wisdom and share the better way, and you're not being seen, you're not being appreciated, you're not being respected, it creates this feeling of bitterness, which I think is like frustration with some sharpness to it. And so waiting for the invitation does not mean sitting around. Let yourself be seen, show your expertise, show your zone of genius, share your ideas in collaboration, and then, but wait until you receive the invitation to like, hey, I would love for you to own that project. Oh, tell me more about this idea. Oh, here's a little one. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. It's like she'll just sit on my lap and keep trying to talk to everybody rather than let me teach. So, okay, so waiting for the invitation. Just allow yourself to be seen. And once you're invited, then you share your wisdom. Our last type is the reflector. Share in the comments if you're a reflector. Reflectors, they have no defined centers. And what that means is that they are absorbing the energy from their environment and people all day long. So what their superpower is, they have this incredible ability to sense and feel the physical, emotional, and energetic state of the environment. They are a reflection of what's around them. So their environment is critically important. They have objective wisdom to judge what's working and what's not. Now, their strategy is a little bit unique because they don't have any defined centers. Their different centers and gates and channels, they're activated at different points in the moon cycle based on astrology. So their strategy is to wait the lunar cycle before they make decisions so that they can get a sense of like what things feel like in each portion of the cycle. It also gives them time to be able to sense the correct decision for themselves. What's difficult about this is that society does not allow for a whole month for decisions to be made a lot of times. So the more practice they get, the more they'll be able to sense things sooner and make decisions and take action before the moon cycle. But the true alignment with their strategy is to give themselves enough time to go through the lunar cycle to be able to have incredible clarity and focus on what's correct for them. When they are in alignment, they just feel this sense of delight. So surprise and delight. They're delighted by their life. It just feels good. And then when they're out of alignment, it's the feeling of disappointment. So those are the key things for our reflectors. We love our reflectors. They bring a very unique perspective. There's only about 1% of reflectors in the world. Okay, so these are the key things that I want you guys to know about for our takeaway of what we're going to be doing for your integration assignment, or your takeaway of how we're going to take action on this is generators and manifesting generators. The sign that you're in alignment is that feeling of satisfaction. The sign that you're out of alignment is that feeling of frustration. Manifestors, the sign that you're in alignment is that feeling of peace. The sign that you're out of alignment is that feeling of anger. So projectors, the feeling that you're in alignment is the feeling of success, however you define success, whatever that looks like for you. Projectors, the sign that you're out of alignment is that feeling of bitterness. Reflectors, your feeling of being in alignment is that surprise, that delight, just being delighted by life. And that feeling of being out of alignment is the feeling of disappointment. Now, what are the things that trigger your alignment feeling or your signature feeling? Your joy list, like things that bring you joy. They're going to create more and more of that alignment feeling. Accomplishments, like taking action and getting things done. It just feels good to get things done. Your state of being. So that's like, how are you perceiving things? What is your environment like? Are you setting yourself up for success? Do you have spaciousness in your days? This looks different for everybody, but just being mindful of your being. What does it feel like? Having space to be more true to you feels more of that alignment. Now, what triggers your not self theme? The feeling that you're out of alignment. Energy leaks. For me, this is things that like the mile-long to-do list where you have things that keep getting, you kick the can down the road and they've been on your list for months or weeks or days. Like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Oh, I'll do that next week. That is an energy leak. When you have this expectation for yourself to get something done and it keeps not getting done, it's draining your energy. It's like holes in your can and the water is leaking out. So energy leaks are things on your to-do list or things on your should list, that are draining your energy. Fear or failure, these trigger you out of alignment. Negative thoughts or emotions that are not well managed. So when you allow yourself to stay in these negative thought spirals, or when you allow yourself to be stuck in these ruts of these negative emotions. Negative emotions, no emotions are bad, but these are the things that create that feeling of being out of alignment, and we can feel stuck. So getting support, developing skills, like we'll work on some of these things, but these are kind of the main things I want you to look at. Emotions, your emotions are data. When you ignore your emotions, it keeps you stuck. So tracking your emotions is going to set you free. So part of what I want you to be doing is, I love this graphic. We're taught that there's good emotions and that there's bad emotions, but every emotion has an important purpose. So now when you experience your not self theme or the emotional trigger that you experience when you're out of alignment, instead of being all in your frustration, oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated. I want you to appreciate that frustration, put it at an arm's length, be like, okay, frustration, I see you. Thank you for showing up. I know you're here to teach me something. You're here to make me aware of something. Something's out of alignment. I'm listening. What do you want me to be aware of? Allow your emotions to just be data. Don't let your emotions have power over you. Experience them. Don't bury them. Don't put them under the rug, but don't let them be so getting you so out of control. Just let your emotion be what it is. Emotion that has data, that has information. It's a gift. See the gift in that. What that looks like is taking inventory of your emotional triggers. So something that I want you guys to begin doing like right now is set some alarms on your phone, like 8 a.m., 10 a.m., noon, 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m., 8 p.m. When those little alarms go off on your phone, I want you to take inventory of your emotional experience in that moment. Be like, am I feeling my not self-theme emotion right now? Am I closer to my not self-theme emotion, or am I closer to my signature emotion? And if you're closer to your signature emotion, take a quick inventory in your mind of like, what's been happening the last 2 hours that's making me feel peace? What's been happening the last 2 hours that's making me feel satisfaction and success? And start to notice those patterns and behaviors. If you're feeling that not self-theme emotion, then when that alarm goes off, I'm like, ooh, I'm more closer to frustration. What's happened the last 2 hours that has triggered that frustration? And then get curious about your emotions. Be grateful that they're showing up for you and analyze the data. I'm going to skip this part. I want to get to one of the biggest things that we're going to be doing over this 4 days is setting clear intentions, taking aligned action, and staying anchored in the celebration. We're going to be getting to this on day 3, but I just wanted to plant the seed for you now. Don't take for granted the things that you have while you're on the quest for the things that you want. I believe in duality, where we are right now and where we aspire to be. I believe in duality of we can be experiencing great things and hard things simultaneously. And so we're going to be embracing every side of that. For your assignment, the way that I want you to take action on kind of what I taught you about human design types today is, 1, I want you to start noticing when you are acting true to your design. When are you acting like a manifester? When are you acting like a generator or a manifesting generator? And I want you to start trying to show up like that using your strategy. And then I want you to be mindful of creating a joy list. If you can write down a huge page of a joy list, things that are free and things that cost money, like 2 different columns that bring you joy, that would be one way for you to put your focus and your energy on more of what creates alignment for you. So I would love it if for assignment 1, if you wrote out a joy list, write out a column of things that are free that bring you joy, a walk on the green belt, fresh flowers, sunshine coming in the windows, whatever that looks like for you. Write down a joy list of things that are free and things that are paid. Take a picture of that joy list and post it in the Facebook group, the Bold Empowerment Movement Facebook group. You will get entered to win some fun prizes for doing your integration assignments. Assignment number 2 is I want you to recognize your not self theme or your emotional trigger when you're out of alignment. Notice when it's coming up and take note of it and be mindful of plugging energy leaks. So I want you to just notice what is on your should list. How have you been shoulding all over yourself? And be mindful of things that are on your energy leak, and how can you clear off things off your energy leak list. Like maybe that's like, just get it done already. Today's the day. Go get that corner cleaned. Go clean the surface of your desk. Or maybe it's like, I've been meaning to get my email to inbox 0 for years and it still hasn't happened. So that's an energy leak. Maybe it's, let me just take that off the list. That's just not going to happen. And I'm managing my expectations about that. And that's okay. And maybe it's delegating. I can't get this done, but I can call in support to get it done. So be mindful of energy leaks. If you take action on anything to plug up an energy leak, post about it in the Facebook group. I want to hear about it to cheer you on and celebrate you. And I would love it if, as you're going through and noticing when you're experiencing the feeling of being out of alignment, if you have any ahas or awareness, share that in the Facebook group too. And then lastly, I think it's so powerful to choose a theme song that's going to act as an anchor point for you for the vision of who you want to be and what you want to experience. So I would love it if you could choose a song that when you hear it, that is like the embodiment of you being in alignment. You feel empowered, you feel happy, you feel joyful. Maybe it's a song that's like you hear the lyrics and they touch you at a soul level. Or maybe you hear the beat and it makes you want to dance. Whatever that looks like for you, there's no rules, but I would love it if you could choose a theme song that is the declaration of who you want to be and how you want to feel. And what happens is when you listen to that song, I want you to visualize you as if you are already the person you aspire to be. And that song will become an anchor point for you. And you'll be surprised how often when you're in a funk or having a hard day or not sure what direction to go, that song will start playing on the radio, or you'll walk into a cafe and it's playing. And it's like a little divine nudge for you. You're on the right path. I got you. I see you. So I would love it if you shared your theme song in the Facebook group. If you have one that's like, this is my theme song, post in the Facebook group and tell me about it. So those are the things that I would love for you to do. They're integration assignments that are easy to do, easy not to do. It's not meant to be like feel burdensome, but it's an easy way for you to take action and implement some of the things that you learned today about your human design type. But we'll go ahead and now open it up for questions. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I was going to ask you what your theme song is.
I have a bunch of theme songs, but my main theme song is Heroes by Alesso. It's the lyrics basically talk about how we can be different. Like we can be heroes of our own story and we can be heroes for others. So it's kind of a fun song. Do you have any thoughts about what yours is yet?
Not yet. I honestly just got my chart for the first time and I'm like, I need to read about this so I actually understand why they put me here. But
yes,
there's lots to learn.
That's a great point. So tomorrow I'm going to be teaching you about authority. So day 2 is going to be about your inner authority. This is how you're designed to make confident decisions you can trust. There are 7 different types of authority. What's really interesting about that is not everybody is designed to make decisions the same way. So I'm going to teach you this superpower of how you're designed to make decisions, and that will help to clarify even more how you're designed to move through life. So your aura is like how people experience you. It's how you feel in alignment and out of alignment. Your authority is really like how you navigate that with confidence. So we'll cover that tomorrow on day 2. So I'm excited for that. Are there any other questions?
You mentioned your son was a certain person.
Yes.
And as soon as I heard the description, I was like, light bulb, that is my 18-year-old. And so when we try to stop him to say, dude, you've got to check in, you've got to tell us what's going on in your life, and he just doesn't. So it's really good. I'm going to try and use your advice and just say, inform us every once in a while on, your intentions for the day, because when we stop him, you could just tell that he instantly starts getting a little irked because we're preventing him from moving.
Yes.
So that was very interesting.
Yes. You know, when you're learning about human design, you want to learn about yourself first because you learn how to be in alignment and you learn how to honor your true nature. But soon after, it's very cool to once you begin to understand yourself, to learn about your spouse or your children or your peers at work. Like it's very cool to begin learning about others so that you can honor their true nature. And that just eliminates resistance. It eliminates butting of heads. And so I love that you got that aha. It has been a game changer for me in my marriage. It's been a game changer for how I parent. And it's just been such a cool tool. So learn about yourself first. Don't be overwhelmed about learning all of them. But I'm glad that you got that aha because that is a powerful thing to go to the next level is begin understanding the most important people in your life.
Emily, I have a question.
Oh,
Yes.
So when you go to the next point of doing the human design in yourself, my daughter is 26 and she is super independent. I mean, uberly independent. And we often butt heads. And so is it appropriate for me to say, read my stuff so you know how I function? Because oftentimes her answer is, it's not my responsibility to worry about how you react or how you feel or what you do, which is true, but life would be better if we communicate at a different level. And if it's a one-way street, you know, have you shared your stuff with other people like that, say your extended family or your husband, or do you just make all the changes?
You know I have a lot to share about this. So the first thing is it is amazing how when you change the way you experience life change. Your environment, the people in your life, the circumstances of your life, they can stay exactly the same. But when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So there is incredible power. Like literally, if you only knew about yourself and you only focused on your own alignment, it will make a massive ripple effect to shift and change your life and your relationships and your environment. But also, what's really cool is one of the things that I usually share when I teach human design is what I'm not okay with is when people use their human design as an excuse. So I want to caution all of you. This is a natural thing that people do is like, oh, either having envy for other types, like, oh, I wish I was more of a go-getter fire starter like my manifestor friend, or oh, I wish I could see things through and work harder, longer, stronger like my generator friend. We're not going to get jealous of other people's human design types. We're going to love who we are. But also, we're not going to use our own design as an excuse for our character flaws or opportunities for growth. So I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm a manifesting generator, which means I'm great at like, let's go, let's get activated. I'm going to skip steps here. Let's get stuff going. And then I'm not an excellent finisher. And so it would be very easy for me to be like, well, the house isn't clean because I'm a manifesting generator. So I started all these projects and look at how much I got done. And it's just, it's not in my design to finish that. Sorry, you need to finish it, generator husband. Like that would be like using my design as an excuse for a character flaw, like just because it's not natural for me to finish things, I can still be accountable for the way I'm affecting other people. So there's something really, really powerful that happens when we understand ourselves, though, because I used to feel a lot of shame about not being a finisher. I do finish things, guys. I'm not trying to say I never finish things, but it's not natural for me to go from point A to point B, like every step in a row through completion in one sitting. So I used to feel like, oh man, I'm so lame. Like she got that done and I haven't gotten it done. And I would be a procrastinator. And I'd feel so much shame and embarrassment about procrastination nature and, being a little ADD, like so embarrassed I'm ADD, all that kind of stuff. But as long as I was feeling shame, I was not being productive either. I was not showing up in my most magnificent myself. So then I understood myself more, and it made me realize some of my natural characteristics. And I recognized that me not finishing things has nothing to do with my worth and my ability to contribute tremendous amount of value. It looks different from me than it does from someone else. So I'm now accountable for how I show up and how I'm designed to be. And where my weaknesses are, I'm not focusing my energy on my weaknesses, but I am accountable to them. So I'm not going to spend all my energy trying to suddenly be a finisher, an excellent executor through the end, when that's not my zone of genius. But I am going to acknowledge that that's a weakness or a character flaw of my, an area for growth that I have. So instead, I've become a very good communicator. So my husband is aware of that quality and characteristic in me. And it's become a fun, lighthearted joke that we have. He sends me reels about ADD moms and stuff. And it's just this inside joke now, you know? And there's something really powerful that happens when you're accountable for who you are and your character flaws or your weaknesses. It makes people open to seeing you in a new way. So the way I would approach your daughter is something like, I've been learning this about myself. I've been learning that this is an area for growth for me, or this is not a natural strength of mine according to my human design. Or I've been learning that I have some conditioning around here, and I'm going to be trying to peel back some layers to decondition some of the ways that I've been operating that are not true to me. I'm sorry for how this affected for you. Or I would like to grow in this area. The way that I can grow best is if you give me space to grow, and I would love for our interactions to look like this. Does this land for you, or tell me more about?
No, it totally lands. I'm totally on your page. My daughter would go, "That's great, mom. Good for you." And she's just very, very independent. And so I'm working on how to um understand, just yeah. So
It's
but no, I agree. I agree with you as far as explaining stuff, but she's just um I think the tools that you talk about now would be super helpful if she's willing to participate in a two-way street.
absolutely, it's
Yeah.
so true. But you will start to experiencing this difference the more that you go on your own path too. And
Yep.
then her closed-mindedness, or her like, I'm not responsible for how you're feeling, it will sting less because you'll be standing in your power. You'll be knowing that you're
Yep.
true to you, and maybe that's part of her journey.
Yeah, no, totally.
Maybe you
Totally.
are here to trigger her for her growth. Like, there might be huge purpose in all of it, but
Yeah.
I
No.
think that's something that would be supportive, is learn about yourself and then learn about her, because maybe you can
Mhm.
make some minor adjustments to speak more at her level.
Sure.
The thing that's tricky about human design is there are a lot of times when I first start working with somebody, like, the first several weeks that we're working together is really about deconditioning, because people have been operating in a way that is not in alignment with their type. And so sometimes we can understand somebody a little bit more from their human design, but they may be way out of alignment. So we need to give grace to other people for that too. But
But I think they also need to understand it because I'm a emotional decision maker. And I've been trying to study a little bit, and my brother is not. I mean, he is just a decision maker. And he looks at me and he goes, "Okay, just make a decision." And then I try to explain to him how I go through, certain emotions, and I look at things and I address things and I see all the areas, and then the decision sort of flows to the top, and that's how I make my decision. "Oh my god, just make a decision." He's like, "That's not real." "That's some kind of book that you've read." And so, um, in that perspective, I keep going, "Okay, so I just have to be less emotional decision when I deal with him rather than my normal, more lengthy emotional decision." I mean, so that's kinda how I'm hoping the human design will help me communicate a little bit better with other people that may not be exactly how I am.
yes, I'm so excited. We'll definitely be diving into this more tomorrow. But one of the things that I will share is that you don't have to, it's okay if people don't understand you. So maybe it's not as much like, it's not necessarily your responsibility to explain how your emotional authority works as much as saying, communicating, that sounds great. I'll get back to you tomorrow. That sounds great. I can have a decision to you by the end of the week. And it doesn't, he doesn't need to know the why behind, and he doesn't have to be like, make a decision now. And you're like, I'm not in a place that I can make that decision. I'll have it to you by Friday. Like sometimes we can be better at holding boundaries of what's correct for us without being offensive. But that is so frustrating to feel like you have to explain to try to be understood. That is a trigger that I have for sure, is like being misunderstood. Like it's a limiting belief of mine, is like this fear of being misunderstood. But what if it wasn't really important for people to fully understand? We just need to fully understand ourselves and then create environments and expectations that support us in our alignment. But yeah, it would be interesting to learn a little bit more about your daughter too, because maybe there are some minor tweaks there. My mom's an emotional authority, and she has always, I'm like a sacral authority. I get that gut hit, decisions made right now, and then I'm skipping steps. Like, who has time to do A, B, C, D, E? I'm like ABD. And then my mom is a projector who sees like the big picture of things. She's looking way further ahead than I am. She's an emotional authority, so she takes time to make those decisions. So we've had a wonderful relationship, but conflicts in the way we go about moving through life.
Yeah.
It's been really cool. Even though we have this great relationship, it's even cooler to understand, like, oh, when my mom says you need to give me more notice, it's not because, she's being annoying and needing to plan out far ahead. And that's an annoying characteristic that I don't have, different than me. It's like she actually does need that much time to have space to make decisions, to plan ahead, because she's looking at the big picture. I'm just looking at the tree right in front of me. So it's just very cool. The more we understand ourselves and how we are designed to interact with others, we can show up in alignment and not have this messy, sticky, yucky energy that creates conflict and friction. And then as we are able to move on to understanding other types and authorities, we can give other people grace and space to be who they're designed to be. And it creates a beautiful shift in all of our relationships, because we're not trying to fit people into molds that they don't belong in. That was a great question. Thanks for asking. Any other questions or thoughts?
I had one more really quick, Annalie.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So obviously I just got my chart for the first time, and I don't feel 100% like confirmed that like this is right? Like I don't, Anyway, I'm like, what if my documented time of birth on my birth certificate isn't correct? How much would it change if, I was actually born 10 minutes earlier or whatever?
It probably won't change very much, like,
Really?
or it would be the more advanced aspects like gates and channels that would change, but play around with it. If you were to put in like 8 a.m., noon, 8 p.m., see if the type, authority, or profile changes.
Okay.
A lot of times it won't change. Sometimes just the profile will change, or sometimes like it really is like right on the line and the type will change. So play around with your birthday and see. But I will say this, when I first started learning human design and I learned about myself, there were definitely things about it that, like, being multi-passionate and being here to like fail forward and making decisions from your, there was the aspects of that I was like, oh yes, that's me, yes. But then when I started diving into human design and being certified in it, and I was learning more about the types, I was an exhausted mom. And manifesting generators are described as being like bright, bubbly, having so much energy. They do 200 things and they can get more done than anybody else. And I'm like, I can barely get the laundry done. I'm exhausted. Like, maybe I'm not a manifesting generator. I relate more to the projector. I think I need naps.
Seriously.
And then, so I felt not connected when I was learning about that. But then what I learned was, it's because all of the things that were on my to-do list were energy leaks and energy draining tasks things that were not lighting me up. As
Mm.
soon as I started adding more into my day of the things that light me up, next thing you know, I was generating more energy. I had a lot more energy to spend
Hmm.
because I was doing more of what lights me up. So it could have some patience with feeling connected to whatever's in your chart. Try it on. It could just be a conditioning issue. It could be an out of alignment issue. Give yourself some time to tweak and try things to see how it feels. But it's not unusual for people to learn about it and be like, nah, I don't know if that's me, because it does take a minute to fully be operating like that. So whatever your type is, practice trying to be more like that type. And it might be kind of an alignment thing of doing more that lights you up. Every type benefits and has more energy when they're doing more of the things that light them up. So that's why the joy list is important.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I've got to run, but to get on another call. But I thank you for this. This is great, and I look forward to digging in a little bit more.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you were here. We'll go ahead and wrap up, and I'll see
right.
you on day 2 tomorrow.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.